If she's ignoring you, she already thinks she has the upper hand. Now what you do next will either confirm it or flip the script. Let's face it, there's almost nothing more frustrating than being ignored by a woman you deeply care about. One day she's warm, laughing at your jokes, texting first, and then suddenly cold silence. No replies, no energy, no effort. You replay every conversation in your head, wondering what you did wrong. But here's the truth. Chasing her attention is exactly what keeps her uninterested. Most men panic. They double text, call late at night, or start over-explaining themselves. And every time they do, they shrink in her eyes. But here's the shift. The power isn't in winning her back. The power is in letting her feel the weight of your absence. What if I told you that the right kind of silence, the right kind of emotional distance, could be far louder than words, that you could reignite her curiosity, rebuild your respect, and make her question her decision, all without begging for a thing? This video will walk you through 10 Stoic tactical moves that flip the dynamic, each one built on psychology, self-mastery, and silent strength. Let's get into it. Number 1. Stay silent, let her feel the void. When a woman starts ignoring you, the natural reaction for most men is to fill the silence. They call, they text, they try to explain, and every time they do, they lose just a little more ground. What you have to understand is this silence is not just an absence of sound, it's a presence, and when used correctly, it's powerful. Let me tell you about Brian. He's 47, a divorced father of 2 working in finance in Chicago. He had been dating a woman named Lisa, 42, for about 6 months. Things were going great until one weekend she went radio silent. No explanation, no texts, no calls. Now the old Brian would have panicked. He would have sent 5 messages in a row asking if everything was okay. But this time he didn't. He paused, he waited, he said nothing. That silence, it echoed louder than any words he could have sent. 3 days later, Lisa texted, "Hey, sorry I was distant. Can we talk?" That's the power of the void. Silence forces her to sit with her own thoughts. It gives her space to miss you, and if there was real value in your presence, she will feel the absence. But you have to resist the temptation to reach out. That silence has to be clean. No breadcrumbs, no likes on her posts, no watching her stories. This isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting your value. When you remain silent, you show emotional discipline. You demonstrate that you don't operate from insecurity. You're not begging for attention. You are the attention. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is where that truth becomes practice. Her silence isn't rejection. It's an invitation to remain composed, to hold the frame, to show her that your sense of self is not dependent on her replies. This boundary, the boundary of silence, draws a line in the sand. It communicates that you will not chase someone who pulls away without reason. It forces clarity, because if she's truly lost interest, she'll stay silent. And that in itself is your answer. But if it was a test, if she was pulling back just to see what you do, your silence will speak volumes. Brian told me something interesting after that experience. He said, "I didn't realize how much power there was in doing nothing. It felt like I was taking control just by staying still." And that's the shift, my friend. Inaction can be action when it comes from strength. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever stayed silent and watched her come back on her own? Or did breaking the silence cost you your power? Drop a comment and let me know with I held back. And before we move on to the next principle, trust me, this was only the beginning. The next one takes everything up a notch. You're going to want to hear it. Number 2, don't chase, make her wonder. The moment you chase a woman who's ignoring you, you hand over the power. And once that power shift happens, the dynamic is never the same. You go from being a mystery to being just another man begging for her attention. You need to understand something. When a woman ignores you, it's not always because she's lost interest. Sometimes she's watching, testing, wondering if she can pull you off your center. And the men who chase, they fail the test every time. They reach out. They apologize for things they didn't even do. They try to win her back when she never left. That's not strength. That's submission. A Stoic man never begs to be chosen. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." In other words, you already have everything you need. The minute you seek validation from her, you forget who you are. You see, women are drawn to presence, not pursuit. When a man is fully in his frame, calm, focused, unshaken, he becomes attractive in a way that chasing never can replicate. Chasing is reactive. Presence is magnetic. One says, "I need you to feel whole." The other says, "I am already whole with or without you." Think of it like this. Jason, 42, had been seeing a woman named Emily, 38. Things were great at first. She was responsive, flirty, present. Then suddenly she pulled back. No texts, short replies, long delays. Jason's first instinct, panic. He wanted to call, to fix it, to chase. But instead he stopped. He sat with the discomfort. He reminded himself, this is not about me losing value. This is about her seeing if I can be shaken. So he did nothing. 3 days later she messaged him, "Hey stranger, been busy, missed talking to you." Jason didn't even have to say a word. His silence did the work. Because real men don't chase, they attract. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to play games. I'm telling you to play the long game. There's a difference. One is manipulation, the other is discipline. Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." When you resist the urge to chase, you're training your mind, you're mastering your emotion, and you're showing her something few men ever do: control. And that's the thing most women won't admit. Control is rare. And when a man has it, it's damn near irresistible. He's not cold. He's just unavailable to anything that disrupts his peace. He responds only to respect and silence. That's not absence, it's posture. By not chasing, you're not being passive, you're being powerful. You're showing her you won't run after breadcrumbs. You won't beg for attention that should have been given freely. You're not here to convince her, you're here to be witnessed, respected, desired. So here's the truth. If a woman creates distance, let her. If she pulls away, you don't close the gap, you hold the space. You let her come to you. Because a woman who truly values you will always find her way back. Now if this resonates, drop it in the comments. Say it out loud: I won't chase. That's a promise to yourself, not to her. And if you thought holding back created power, just wait until you learn what happens when you start rewriting the rules of engagement entirely. What's coming next will rewire the way you see connection. Stick around. Number 3. Show her she's replaceable. Here's a hard truth. The moment a woman thinks you can't live without her, she'll start acting like she's too good for you. This isn't about arrogance. It's about balance. Respect fades the second one person feels irreplaceable. And most guys, especially in their 40 seconds or 50 seconds, fall into this trap without realizing it. They build their lives around her. They stop seeing their friends, stop pursuing their goals, and make her the sun their world orbits around. And guess what? That's exactly when she starts pulling away. See, desire doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in uncertainty. When she feels too secure, when she knows you'll always be there, no matter how she treats you, the thrill dies. Women don't want a man who begs. They want a man who's wanted by others, who has options, who doesn't need her but chooses her. Take Mark, 47, divorced for a few years, finally back in the dating world. He met Rachel, 41, a smart, attractive woman who liked to be the center of attention. At first it was exciting. But slowly she started disrespecting his time, cancelling plans last minute, texting back hours later, always on her terms. Mark used to take the bait. He'd ask what was wrong, try harder, chase her approval. But one day something shifted. Mark didn't respond to her late texts. He made plans with his buddies. He went to the gym, started training again. He didn't cut her off, but he stopped revolving around her. And guess what Rachel noticed? She texted, "You've been distant lately." And Mark, he just said, "Busy living." because that's what a man of value does. He keeps moving, with or without her. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." In other words, don't seek validation, don't seek permission, just do the work. Build your world so solid that no woman becomes the center of it. The way to show her she's replaceable isn't by playing games, it's by living fully. When you're out there doing your thing, working on your business, your health, your purpose, you radiate confidence, you create curiosity, and most importantly, you regain control. This isn't about hurting her or pretending you don't care. It's about reminding yourself that your life doesn't stop for anyone. You were whole before her and you'll be whole after. That's the energy she can't resist. That's the energy that makes her ask, "What if I lose him?" If she feels like you have no life without her, she'll treat you like you don't. But when she sees that your time, energy, and attention are earned, not given away for free, everything changes. You stop being an option. You become a prize. So let her see that you can walk away. That you're not scared to lose someone who doesn't value you. Because sometimes the most powerful move isn't to argue or explain, it's to disappear into your purpose. Now, if you've ever felt like you gave too much of yourself and lost your edge, type it in the comments. Own it. I gave too much. That's how we start taking our power back. And speaking of power, what happens when she realizes the silence you gave her isn't punishment? It's peace. Stick around. What's next will flip the script in ways she never saw coming. Number 4. Pull back your attention. Attention is currency. And most men are out here spending it like it's free. When a woman starts ignoring you, most guys instinctively do the opposite of what they should. They give more attention, more texts, more calls, more questions. They think that by showing her they care, she'll care back. But here's the uncomfortable truth: when she senses that your attention is automatic, easy, and unconditional, she stops valuing it. In her mind, it becomes worthless. And worse, it signals one thing: loud and clear neediness. See, there's a reason Marcus Aurelius warned, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. And what is a woman's validation, if not something completely outside of your control? The moment you start chasing her attention, you've already lost your frame. You're reacting instead of leading. And once that dynamic flips, it's hard to come back from. So what should a man do when a woman pulls back? Simple. Mirror her energy, but do it from a place of calm, not punishment. You don't slam the door, you just stop holding it open. You redirect your attention away from her and back into your world, your goals, your body, your brothers, your purpose. Pulling back your attention doesn't mean becoming cold or bitter. It means being intentional. If she's not reciprocating you, stop giving. Not as a tactic, but as a standard. Your time and energy are sacred. They're not to be handed out just because she's beautiful or charming. That's the mindset of a man who knows his worth. And this is where Stoicism isn't just helpful, it's essential. The Stoics taught that external things, status, affection, attention, are not within our power. What is within our power is how we respond. When you stop reacting to her pullback with panic and instead respond with detachment and dignity, you win. Every time. She may notice. She may test you further, but she will feel the shift. She'll realize you are not the kind of man who needs constant reassurance or emotional hand-holding, and that creates a new kind of attraction, a deeper respect. You are not punishing her with silence. You're protecting your energy. You're communicating without a single word that your attention must be earned, not expected. And in a world where most men throw themselves at women who barely lift a finger, this makes you stand out like a lighthouse in a storm. Now, if you've ever found yourself pouring energy into someone who barely gave it back, I want you to pause and drop this in the comments right now. I pulled back. Let that be the moment you started respecting your time more than her silence. And if you're the kind of man who's tired of guessing, tired of chasing, tired of confusion, then it's time you join our private membership. Inside, we go deep. We train your mind, your masculinity, and your mission. No noise, no fluff, just results. If you're ready to lead from strength, not seek from weakness, membership is where that journey begins. Your attention isn't just valuable, it's powerful. Use it wisely. Now stay with me, because what comes next shows you how to flip the script in one subtle move that most men never think of, and it works like magic. Let's keep going. Number 5. Kill her comfort, not her respect. Comfort kills attraction. That might sound harsh, but it's one of the most important truths a man can learn about female psychology. When a woman becomes too comfortable, when she knows your every move, your every thought, and that you'll always be there no matter how she treats you, her curiosity fades, her desire fades, and eventually her respect starts to die. You see, men like us, we're often told to be dependable, consistent, and always available. But when that crosses the line into predictability and emotional dependence, it backfires. She doesn't feel chosen. She feels trapped in something she no longer has to work for. Jake, 42, a financial advisor from Dallas, had this lesson delivered the hard way. He was dating Vanessa, 38, a confident and charming woman who at first seemed incredibly engaged. She laughed at his jokes, texted, first made plans, but a month in she shifted. Delayed responses, short answers, passive interest. So Jake did what most good men do. He tried harder. More dates, more attention, more presence. And it failed. Miserably. The more he gave, the more invisible he became, until he stopped. Not to punish her, but to recenter himself. He didn't slam the door, he just stopped offering himself on a silver platter. He got quiet, focused on himself. He didn't chase, he built. His business, his health, his joy. And without warning, Vanessa started chasing him. Not because he manipulated her, but because he removed the ease without erasing the value. This is the Stoic way. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Jake stopped thinking about fixing her attraction and started living in his own purpose again. And she noticed. They all notice. This is the essence of kill her comfort, not her respect. You're not withdrawing love, you're withdrawing excess access. You're not being rude or cold, you're simply stepping back from being a man she can predict at every turn. That space reignites polarity, and polarity reignites desire. This doesn't mean you play games. Games come from fear. Detachment comes from strength. As Epictetus put it, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You can't control her feelings, but you can control your standards. When a woman senses you're not dependent on her attention, but rather inspired by your own direction, she's pulled in deeper. The man who can say no to constant availability is the man who becomes unforgettable. And if she doesn't respond to the shift, that's your answer. You never lost her, you just never had her. Better to find out now than waste years hoping her interest will magically return. So ask yourself, are you offering presence or permission to be taken for granted? If you've ever chased comfort instead of commanding respect, it's time to shift the dynamic. Right now in the comments write, I raise my standard. That's not just a phrase, it's a decision. And don't go anywhere, because the next part of this video dives into a subtle but powerful move that flips her emotional script without you saying a single word. Let's keep going. Number 6. Make her see you living. When she ignores you, your instinct may tell you to wait, retreat, or worse, pause your life and hope she returns. But here's the truth, the most powerful move you can make is to keep living out loud, not for her. Not to provoke a reaction, but because your life deserves motion regardless of who's watching. You see, when a woman pulls away, she's often testing something. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's not. But she's watching. Watching to see if your world collapses without her presence, or if it continues to thrive. And if you disappear into silence, if you vanish into the shadows hoping she'll come looking, that doesn't inspire respect. It signals dependency. Instead, what shakes her expectations, what shifts the dynamic completely, is when you do the opposite. You live. You show up where life happens. You're visible, vibrant, and in momentum. You're not posting out of spite or to show off, but if she happens to see a photo of you out with friends, laughing, working, moving good, let her wonder. Let her sit in the silence she created and see that your joy never depended on her presence. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That means building, growing, exploring. It means creating energy in your own world, not broadcasting every move like a teenager on social media, but simply being undeniably in motion. She doesn't need to see you chasing another woman. That's weak. That's reactionary. What gets under her skin, what she didn't expect, is the realization that your absence didn't slow you down, it sharpened you. And that's when the script flips. Because attraction at its core is about energy. It's about polarity. And nothing is more attractive than a man in full command of his direction. A man who doesn't pause for silence. A man who doesn't beg for breadcrumbs of attention. A man who lives, not performs. In Stoicism, we're reminded again and again, external validation is fleeting. As Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That includes being misunderstood, misread, ignored. But in that space, if you can hold your frame and still live with fire, that's when the world, including her, begins to see you differently. You're not doing it for her. But you're also not hiding your life from her. If she's watching, let her see what she's missing. If she's not, so be it. You're not living for a reaction. You're living for alignment. Because the man who can stay in motion regardless of attention is the man who cannot be ignored for long. Now, brother, if you've ever let someone's silence freeze your momentum, it's time to reverse that story. Right now in the comments write, "I keep moving." Let the world know your story doesn't pause for anyone. And don't go anywhere. The next part of this video reveals a subtle but powerful psychological tactic that flips indifference into intrigue without a single word spoken. Stay with me. Number 7. Mirror her coldness calmly. You ever been in a moment where she suddenly turns cold, stops replying like she used to? The tone drops, the warmth disappears. Most guys panic. They scramble, send long texts, try to fix something they don't even understand yet. But let me tell you something, her coldness isn't always about you. Often it's a test, a power move. And how you respond decides if she sees you as a man or as someone she can control. When a woman pulls away emotionally, your instinct might be to lean in harder. But here's the truth, when she pulls back, you pull back too. Not to punish her, not to play games, but to protect your dignity. You mirror her energy, but you do it without bitterness, without drama, and without begging. Here's what that looks like in real life. Matt, 42, divorced, recently started dating again. Things were great with a woman named Laura, 38, until one day she just stopped engaging. No more flirty energy, slow replies, vague plans. Matt almost fell into the trap. He drafted long emotional messages, reread every text 10 times, tried to decode what he did wrong, but instead he chose stillness. He responded when necessary but didn't chase. He went about his life hitting the gym, focusing on work and spending time with his kids. 3 days later, Laura messaged him again. "Hey, sorry, I've been distant, just needed space." See, when you don't react emotionally to her coldness, you force her to face her own silence. It becomes a mirror, and in that mirror she sees your strength. This is where Stoicism becomes powerful. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That means you don't force connection. You don't fake affection to fix discomfort. You let what is real come back naturally or not at all. That's emotional discipline. That's power. Mirroring her coldness isn't about ego, it's about self-respect. You're not punishing her, you're respecting yourself. Because chasing someone who's pulling away never works long-term. It teaches her she can treat you coldly and still keep your attention. And the moment she knows that the dynamic shifts, you're no longer the man she admired, you've become emotionally dependent. Instead, become the man who can sit in silence, the one who doesn't need to chase validation. The man who understands that love, when it's real, doesn't require constant proving. It flows. And when it stops flowing, you don't dam the river, you step back and let it find its own way. The power of this approach is subtle. She starts to wonder why you're not reacting, why you're calm, why you're not scrambling. That mystery reignites her respect. Sometimes it reignites her desire. You become the man she can't quite read but wants to understand. Now, I want to hear from you. If you've ever stayed calm when a woman turned cold, drop it in the comments with this: "I held my ground." And if this part hits something real for you, trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. There's a shift in perspective that will make her rethink the silence she thought would shake you. Stay with me. Number 8. Flirt with life, not just her. When a woman starts ignoring you, the first instinct most men feel is to chase, to text more, to call, to try harder. But here's the truth: nothing repels attraction faster than desperation. It communicates one message loud and clear: you matter more than my purpose, my joy, my peace. That's not strength, that's submission. And deep down, both of you feel it. But what if instead of turning your focus toward her, you turned it back inward? What if the best way to respond to her coldness was to become warmer with life? See, brother, you don't need her to validate your worth. What you need is to remember who you are when you're locked into your mission, when your days are full, when your fire is lit from within, not from some woman's attention. Flirting with life means reclaiming your energy. It means doing things that make you feel alive. Hitting the gym, not for the mirror, but for the discipline. Calling up old friends, not to be distracted, but to reconnect with the men who remind you of your strength. Reading, building, learning, creating, whatever stirs your soul back into motion. It's energy, and energy is magnetic. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When those thoughts revolve entirely around her silence, your life begins to shrink. But when your thoughts revolve around growth, strength, clarity, purpose, you expand. And so does your presence. That presence is what first attracted her to you. Not your texts, not your compliments. Your presence, your self-command. Now, this isn't about pretending. Don't fake happiness. Don't slap on a smile while you're silently hoping she texts back. This isn't performance. This is real alignment. You flirt with life because it's your duty to live fully. Whether she notices or not becomes irrelevant. And ironically, that's when she does notice. When she feels your absence but also your calmness, she becomes curious. She'll wonder, why isn't he trying anymore? What's changed? She may try to provoke you just to get a reaction, but if you've been living right, you'll no longer bite. Because you're full. You've reconnected with yourself. This is real masculine energy. Still, grounded, focused, not reactive, not emotional, not needy. As Epictetus put it, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You cannot control her attention, her emotions, her games. But you can control how you respond. You can control whether your days are wasted in worry or built with momentum. And don't think for a second that this is just about her. The woman is simply the trigger. But the real issue is that too many men have forgotten how to live for themselves. Their hobbies are dead, their bodies are soft, their spirits are flatlined. And then they wonder why no woman is inspired to stay. But when you flirt with life, you bring that inspiration back, not just for her, but for yourself. You walk taller, speak clearer, you sleep better. You don't just attract her, you attract opportunity because you're finally living as a man who knows his worth isn't tied to a single person. So here's the challenge. Get back into your lane, focus on your craft. Travel, create, build something, Laugh deeply, work with your hands, do things that have nothing to do with her but everything to do with you. And if you've ever pulled yourself out of a dark place by choosing to flirt with life instead of chasing what ignored you, drop it in the comments right now. I chose life. Because when you stop orbiting her and start moving with your own gravity, everything changes. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The next move we're about to break down is the one that flips the script in total silence. Let's keep going. Number 9. Master emotion, win the frame. There's a reason the calmest man in the room often controls the room. In relationships, especially romantic ones, emotions can become battlegrounds. And the man who learns to master his emotions rather than react impulsively will always hold the upper hand. This isn't just stoic wisdom, it's tactical masculinity. Let's face it, most men were never taught how to navigate emotional chaos with strength. If a woman starts pulling away, being cold, or using silence as a weapon, most guys panic. They text more, chase harder, try to fix things that aren't even broken. But here's the truth. When you start reacting, you give her control over your inner world. And once she senses that you're emotionally dependent on her, attraction begins to die. Now, what does it mean to master emotion? It doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. It means you learn to respond rather than react. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That quote should be tattooed in the mind of every man watching this. When you let her emotional waves pass through you without pulling you off center, you become the rock in the storm. Let me give you a real-life example. Paul, 45, recently started dating Jenna, who's 40. For the first few weeks, everything felt aligned. Chemistry, shared values, great conversation. But then Jenna started pulling back. Delayed texts, flaky responses, hot and cold energy. Paul felt the urge to confront her, to call her out, to seek answers. But instead, he did something different. He paused. Rather than reacting, he went quiet, not from pettiness, but from power. He poured his energy into the gym, focused on his consulting work, and spent time with his 2 sons. He wasn't cold or passive-aggressive. He was just solid. He let her feel the space, let her miss his presence. And sure enough, Jenna came back curious, intrigued, and recalibrated. Because what most men don't realize is that when you stop chasing, you create polarity. When you stop over-explaining, you create mystery. And when you stop emotionally spiraling, you create respect. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In this context, when she tests you, ignores you, mocks you subtly, or becomes distant, it's not about what she's doing. It's about whether you allow it to control your energy. If she senses you lose your frame easily, she subconsciously loses trust in your leadership. But if you remain calm, grounded, and self-possessed, you begin to rewrite the dynamic entirely. Here's the tactical piece. Emotional mastery doesn't mean emotional distance. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming centered. You're not withholding affection. You're withholding your reaction. You're not trying to win against her. You're winning against your lesser self. This doesn't mean she's the enemy. Often these tests are unconscious. She's not trying to break you. She's trying to feel you. Trying to sense whether you're solid enough to handle the full spectrum of who she island. Most men collapse. Few remain composed. And that's exactly why mastering emotion makes you rare. So what do you do in practice? You build inner stillness. You meditate. You exercise daily discipline. You make decisions from values, not moods. You maintain eye contact when things get tense. You stay curious instead of reactive. You become the man who leads himself so he can lead others. And that's magnetic. If you've ever wondered why certain men seem to pull women back in without doing anything, this is it. They don't chase. They don't plead. They simply are. They operate from the inside out, not the outside in. So now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and write, "I control me." 3 simple words. a quiet declaration of power. Let it be your reminder the next time emotion calls you to chaos. And make sure you stick around, because the next part reveals a counterintuitive shift that flips the script, and most men never see it coming. Number 10. Walk first and don't look back. At some point, a man must make peace with walking away, not as a game, not as a manipulation, but as a declaration of inner strength. You see, most men stay too long. They linger in confusion, hoping she'll change, hoping she'll notice, hoping she'll care. But hope without action is not hope, it's emotional slavery. When a woman ignores you, when she pulls away, when she disrespects your presence or your boundaries, the most powerful move is to leave. Not storm out, not ghost, but to walk with dignity, with clarity, with silence. And here's the part most men miss. You don't walk away to get her back. You walk to get yourself back. That's the difference between stoic strength and emotional manipulation. One is rooted in self-respect, the other in neediness disguised as tactics. Let me say this plainly, brother. If you feel the shift, if her words start sounding colder, her replies get shorter, her affection turns into obligation, that's your cue. Not to fight for her attention, but to recenter your focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." He didn't say to beg. He didn't say to chase validation from someone who no longer sees your value. You are not here to convince someone of your worth. There's a calm, masculine energy that comes from walking first, not dramatically, not in bitterness, but like a man who knows this path no longer reflects my value. This isn't about punishing her. This is about protecting you. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if I walk and she doesn't come after me? Then you just got your answer. Because a woman who truly values you will notice your absence. And if she doesn't, then you were the only one holding the connection in the first place. Let that truth set you free, not break you. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. And when you walk first without begging, explaining, or seeking closure, you're communicating something incredibly rare. I value myself enough to choose peace over confusion. Here's what most men don't realize until it's too late. Chasing is easy. Staying silent, walking away without resentment and never looking back, that's what takes real strength. When you leave from a place of calm, not anger, not ego, you allow space for transformation. Either she wakes up to what she lost, or you walk into a space where someone already sees you. Either way, you win. And don't misunderstand me, it's okay to feel the sting. It's okay to feel the ache of letting go, but let it burn with meaning. Let it forge you, not break you. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of your pain isn't about the woman, it's about the stories you told yourself about who she could have been. Drop the story. Let the facts speak. If she's gone cold, if she's distant, if she doesn't appreciate your presence, then your exit is not abandonment, it's alignment. Now, here's something powerful. When you walk first and mean it, you disrupt the pattern. Most women expect you to linger, to orbit, to beg. But when you walk away with clarity, they feel the weight of your absence. And sometimes that's exactly what shatters their illusion of control. But again, you're not doing it for her reaction. You're doing it for your resurrection. Remember, this real power isn't in being chased. It's in being centered. She can either match your energy or watch you walk away with it. And if she ever circles back, let her find a man who's elevated, not waiting. Let her see the version of you that no longer tolerates emotional games. The man who no longer defines himself through someone else's presence or silence. So, when you feel it, that turning point where everything inside you knows the connection has shifted, don't delay, don't explain, don't look back, just walk. In this video, you learned how to respond when a woman ignores you, not with weakness, but with calm self-respect and quiet strength. This isn't just about reverse psychology, it's about mastering yourself, holding your frame, and refusing to be emotionally manipulated. If this message helped shift your mindset even a little, Imagine what a full transformation would look like. That's exactly what you'll find inside the members area. Deeper strategies, private content, and a step-by-step path to becoming the man who doesn't chase but chooses. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.